So let's get into our topic today. And our topic today is about showing agents. So on Zoom, let me share the screen with you all. I see that Douglas is there, Amy's there, Claire, Amber, Jasmine, Jody. Love seeing everybody here. Good morning. And Douglas, thank you for having your camera on. You know, you guys, I understand some of you are working and listening on the side. So I get why your camera's off. The rest of you are beautiful and gorgeous and handsome, and you can be on camera. Okay, let's see if that's sharing.
If I wasn't in the car driving, I would have it on.
I know, it's okay. You're working. So I know, Amber, that you're working another, so you get a pass. That's okay. I'm giving
Thank you.
trouble. I'm giving trouble to the ones that don't. Okay, let's get into this because has anyone been a showing agent for another agent yet? You have? You have? Ellie, have you yet? So no. Okay. So, so we're going to cover both scenarios today. I'll focus mostly on being a showing agent for another agent, okay? But it's going to give you good information on how to show houses well, whether it's your client or someone else's client, okay? And the reason this is so valuable is it can be a way to make extra money. Now, you have to put yourself out there. The agents in this office that have done a really good job at being showing agents have really put themselves out there. They've even posted on our closed Facebook page saying, hey, if you need someone to cover for you and show some buyers, or even they'll pay you to go show up and let the inspector in or let the appraiser in. Or sometimes it's just running activities like put a sign in a yard. If you talk to Ingrid Wilford here in the office, she's one of our growth coaching clients. She's been in the business. I think she's going into her third year, right around there. She made some good extra money being a showing agent for other agents. And once you get that reputation as being reliable and somebody that they can depend on, it's nice to have a go-to as a busy, experienced agent. And so that's what we're going to go into today and talk about that. So why, and so I call this class Showing Agent Certified, because if you do this class, you should have enough information on how to do this well. And once I get it into Digital Chalk, there'll actually be a quiz to take. Now, when I went to put together this PowerPoint, it did everything really tiny. So I apologize. I did increase some of the font and some of it, but this program and I were fighting yesterday. So busy agents get overwhelmed. Most agents are solo practitioners, meaning they're a business of one. Or maybe they're a business of one and maybe they have an admin or transaction coordinator, but they don't have other people on their team. So they get busy. They can't be everywhere. You just physically can't. And there'll be times in your world that you'll have a conflict, that you can't be in Lee Summit meeting an inspector and go show a house in Parkville at the same time, or even in a close amount of time. Because Kansas City is such a big metropolitan area and we are so spread out that it can be really hard to do those things. Also, it is very important for those of you who have full-time jobs and you can't go out and show properties during the day. It's probably really important that you build relationships with agents who you can depend on to go do that for you so that you're always making certain your client comes first. Because how do you think it feels to a client when there's a hot new listing and you say, oh, I can't show it to you until after work? Some may be understanding, but a hot house could be gone by evening. It could. So you've got to make certain this type of arrangement can address a lot of needs. New agents, you guys need experience. And I will tell you, there's something a little less stressful about showing someone else's clients' houses than showing your own. It just is. Wouldn't you say, Olivia? You probably have been doing it for kids. And so it's a little less pressure on you. So it's a good combo and it helps both. And it gets you, like I said, a little extra money. So we actually had a formal showing agent program with a website and everything that we had, oh, it was before COVID that we used it and had it. And it was just hard to keep it up to date and maintain. And so we decided not to do the website anymore and to let agents come together and partner and find each other. And like I said, it's nice if it works really well if you promote yourself. I've seen an agent do this very effectively where before holidays, like we've got Labor Day coming around. As an agent, I worked every Labor Day and every Memorial Day because I usually had out-of-town clients. 3-day holiday is a nice chunk of time to be able to come look at houses, right? So I worked every of those 3-day holidays. And there are times I wish I hadn't. And if I'd had an option or had thought about, oh, I need a showing agent to help me with that, that could have given me some family time on a 3-day weekend, which I usually didn't. And like I said, and then sometimes an agent might want you just to go on an appointment with them. They need an extra body and they'll actually pay you. Or sometimes it's just your peer saying, you guys, you understand, I hope, your safety is number one. And if you think about it, we as agents go meet strangers. Well, you need to think about that twice. When you go and meet strangers, have you been able to see their ID in advance, even if it's just them sending it to you so that you know that's the person who you're going to meet? Are you making certain you get the pre-approval letter? Now we're supposed to, the buyer's agent is supposed to have a buyer's agency agreement before we go show those houses. Now you don't have to be on that buyer's agreement as a showing agent, but you should make certain that in a tactful way, without demanding, you should be asking the buyer's agent, and you do have a signed buyer's agreement with them, right? Because it could, I mean, if I don't know if MLS and KCRAR would come back to the showing agent, but it's probably a good idea to make sure that's in place. No, it does not. Open house is open to the public. And so they can come.
On per sell, or buyers sell, right?
Yes.
So it's-
Well, and,
Okay.
well, I will tell you, open houses, it's probably smart to have somebody else with you.
Yeah.
Depends where that open house is. Depends on the access of it. A lot of lenders will do them with you because they want to try to get business also. Some insurance agents will do it, some title companies, and will be there at open houses, and your peers. I know a lot of new agents who do open houses together. Matter of fact, I'll tell you a cute little story of 2 launch agents, and they started doing open houses together. They did an open house, a couple came through, and they were really interested in buying that house. And they had a house to sell. So guess what the 2 agents did? One of them helped them with the buy, and the other helped them with the sell. It's beautiful. And they worked together to do that and make sure it was coordinated, but it worked out beautifully for them to be able to do that. Most when you go and work with a peer, it's I'll greet the next set of people coming in, and then you greet the next set of people coming in. I mean, there's ways to be able to do this. And if you've got a really popular open house location, then here's the other thing you have to be worried about. Have you ever had an open house where there's so many people you couldn't talk to everybody? I have. And then you just feel like a traffic cop. You're like, you don't get to build any relationships. You don't get to connect to anybody because it's too busy. So that can, we want it busy, but there can be a downside to that, to you trying to manage all those people and connect with them. Does that make sense? And then, like I said, they could be asking you to do some runner activities for them. There is an app out there called Key Please that you can subscribe to. I don't think many of our agents do. Here's the catch. Before the lawsuit, you could do showings for other agents with other brokerages. We can't do that anymore. We can only do showings inside our brokerage. And it's for legal liability purposes. It's for E&O insurance, won't cover you if something crazy happens. So you have to be careful about that. So that Key Please app was actually designed by some Keller Williams agents somewhere else in the country. And it was a great idea that you could just go on and make a request and everybody could see that request. What happens now is most people are doing it on our closed Facebook page. And it works pretty well. We're going to talk about building a professional image, safety protocols, scheduling skills, and agents working together. Professional image. So if you're going to be, I'm not saying wear a dress or wear a suit. I'm not saying that. But look clean, look tidy, don't look like you just rolled out of bed. And it really depends on the caliber of client that you're working with. You know, some clients you can show up in jeans and it's fine. What I learned when I started getting busy as an agent, or even when I started having other agents tap onto me to be a showing agent, when I was newer, was that I had to show up dressed and ready. I don't live close to the office. I live 35 minutes away. It wasn't easy for me to just go home and then get into nicer, you know, my cleaned up outfit. So I always came to the office ready to go so that if somebody needed something, because our world is more unpredictable as far as when things can pop up. Haven't you seen that, Olivia? Somebody just says, I want to go see a house. And you're like, what? They haven't been active in maybe 3 months, and all of a sudden they want to go see a house and they want to see it like now. And so I just always got ready and was ready to go. Here's Thais is coming in. So that's where it says professional attire appropriate for the property type and the client expectations. Also, remember, if you're a showing agent for another agent, you want to leave a good impression too, because they are depending on you to be an extension of them and make a good impression. Your car. We spend so much time in our car. Matter of fact, it is our home away from home. You need to make sure you have the right supplies in your car. You got to make sure that you know how to eat in your car. I had to figure out what meals. I mean, it sounds funny, but I remember I don't live close to the office, and I remember being all dressed up for an appointment that I had later that day, getting my lunch, eating, because a lot of times we're eating in our car as we're going from Parkville to Lee Summit, right? So it's not always the healthiest eating that we do when we're in real estate. It's grab and go. And I remember getting a sandwich, and I remember that sandwich falling apart all over my outfit. And I couldn't go home. I didn't have the luxury of having time to go home and change. And so I had to clean up as best as I could. And I had to like figure out, what can I eat in my car? What can I eat in my car that will also fill me up? I came up with smoothies were the best. Because I was less likely to drop it. It would fill me up. It was kind of healthy, but I had to find something that literally would do that. And I had to learn how to keep my car clean. Now, you don't need a new car. You don't need a different car. I've seen people go out and buy brand new cars because they became a real estate agent. Please don't do that unless you have lots of money and can afford that car payment. Don't do that. All you need is a reliable, clean car. I had a 4-year-old when I was first an agent. And keeping a car clean with a 4-year-old, you know, I was that person who said, I'm never letting my children eat in the car. Well, when you have a screaming, banshee, hungry child in the back, you literally almost throw food at them, right? So I had to get one of those tarps or one of those covers for the whole back bench seat. And I had a little whisk broom because I didn't always have time before a showing to go to the car wash and vacuum out my car. I had to so the car seat would go in the back, the cover would go in the back, the whisk broom would get out, and then I would have also wipes for my car too. So I had to do that in the parking lot at work before I went to go show that property. So keeping a clean car is important, but don't worry about having a fancy car or an expensive car. Matter of fact, I will tell you, I've seen it backfire on agents having really expensive cars. Unless you are only showing houses to other clients that are like luxury clients, someone who's looking at a 265 house might think you're not a match for them. You make more than enough money. You don't need me. I want to find somebody I can relate to. So sometimes having a fancy car can bite you. It's punctuality. Does anybody know what we're known for as agents and it's not good? Being late. Being late. It's the number one. Being late, bad communicator. Those are the top 2 things that consumers complain about us. So being punctual, being on time is really important. And especially when you're showing for somebody else. You cannot be late. That will reflect poorly on them, and then they will not be happy with you, and you will not get asked again to do this, most likely. So punctuality is very important, and so you need to prepare and arrive early for those showings, because ideally you want to get in there and turn on the lights and check everything out, because most likely you didn't have an opportunity to preview that house before you're showing it. It's ideal when you're brand new and get like your first client or maybe your second client. It's ideal if you can preview the houses before you show them. It is very hard to go cold into a house, and I'll tell you what will mess you up is locks, lock boxes, alarms. The older the house, the more funky the lock system is mostly going to be. In some houses, they have 3 different deadbolts. And you're going to have to manage that. And there's nothing more nerve-wracking with your client right behind you. And you're like trying to figure out how the heck get in this. And some you have to jiggle a little to the left, a little to the right, and lift up to just get in the door. So if you can preview them, also to be able to figure out the route. Yeah, you can map it, but was that the best route? And were there anything with construction or something like that? That's the other thing. This time of year, you have to be really careful. If you don't drive the whole city on a regular basis, you're not going to know about road construction. And then you can think, oh, it's only going to take me 20 minutes to get over there. And then you didn't realize, oh my gosh, they've torn this all up. It's down to 1 lane and they're crawling. And you're like, oh crud, I'm going to be late. So that's why it's best if you can preview. I know it's not going to always be possible, and sometimes it's a luxury, but if you can, it will also help you with your confidence that you're walking into a house that you've actually seen. And so you know where everything is, or close to everything. Make sense? Yes.
The license reserved in the showing.
No, you cannot.
Yes. You can't show it.
You can't do any agent activities in any state that you're not licensed. So when you're new and you just have the one and you're waiting to get the other one, you can't do open houses, you can do nothing. And I know it's kind of confusing. You're like, well, but I have a license. No, the states say no, 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 no. And actually, we can get in trouble if that's found that you've been doing that. You can do it in the state you're licensed, yes, all day long. You just can't go across that state line and do any agent activities. Now, you could go shadow somebody who's doing some activities in the other state, but you can't. Like I said, let's talk just a little bit more about dress code. Shorts, cutoffs, jeans, casual pants, tank tops, revealing clothes, flip-flops, casual sandals. I'm not saying that none of those are ever appropriate, but I think you all are smart enough to know what would be professional enough. We live, especially since after COVID, we live in a much more casual dress environment. Again, just look clean, look like you didn't roll out of bed. That's important. I will tell you though, the reason you don't want to do flip-flops and sandals is because you might be walking, you might be going to new construction. And they've got nails and all sorts of stuff all around and uneven ground, so you gotta be careful there. You might be walking in a backyard and it might be wet or it may, who knows, what will be in that backyard. So usually wearing toe shoes is the best for showing properties. And if you wanna have the cute shoes on, if you wanna have a little heel on, I don't see anybody wearing a heel today. I'm over that. I'm over heels. I wore them for too many years and your feet will get angry the older that you get for what you did previously. For all those cute shoes that I wore that really hurt, and some of them even made my toes bleed, but God, they were cute. No, because not what I go through now. No, and flats are the order of the day. A lot for like a holiday or something, party or something. I'll put on some heels, but they won't be very high anymore because I don't like to be crippled the next day. What? Yeah, those are cute. Little cute kitten hill. So just use your best judgment and and remember, if you come a mess, that buyer is probably telling their buyer's agent, oh my gosh, okay, because you're representing them. So I always had another pair of shoes in my car in case I was going to go to new construction. Because sometimes I'd have a fancier, nicer shoe on, but I didn't want to get ruined with mud and construction yuck. So I would usually have another pair of shoes in. And sometimes you're gonna do acreage. And you're walking acreage in a pasture? Yeah. Yes, you might. Don't say no, Alice. You don't know. Again, with the car, kind of touched on this, remove all the trash, personal items, make sure it smells okay. A lot of agents get those packages from car washes so that they can have the yearly, because you go and get your car cleaned a lot. A lot of agents do. Doesn't mean you have to, but a lot of agents want to make sure they have a nice, clean car. Yeah, it's part of your professional image. Now, you will also make the decision, especially for your own buyers, you'll make the decision whether, when you're showing them houses, whether they're gonna ride with you or they're going to meet you. If I'm just showing one house, then I'm gonna have them meet me there. But if I'm showing 4 to 5 houses, I always put the buyer in my car. This is a personal preference. You're gonna have to decide what works best for you. I had one agent tell me, she says, oh no, Kristen, I can't have my buyers in the car with me. I'm too easily distracted. I'd probably have an accident. So she knew her own limitations, that probably wasn't a good idea. Here's why I loved it. Well, especially now. Most houses have what in them? Cameras. Recording devices. You can't talk openly about that house. In the house, even outside the front door, you should not be doing that. How far does a Ring doorbell microphone reach? I don't know. Even the driveway may not be far enough, right? And you better believe the seller's watching every showing that's going on in their house. And so bare minimum, there's gonna be a ring most likely or something similar. And there's probably in many of the houses you're showing other cameras that you just are not aware of. So in the car, when I would get back in the car with my buyers, I'd be able to say, we had a routine. We're gonna rank this house on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 meaning I think I want to put an offer on this. And 1 means, oh, nah, then we're gonna eliminate that house. I'm gonna take the sheet from the MLS sheet from you, and we're gonna toss it in the trash. Because we're gonna remove it from our consideration. You have to keep narrowing down your buyers, or otherwise some of them just can't, it just gets too confusing for them. So, and then I could also coach them on the process if they were riding with me. And here's what I also didn't like, is if they followed me and I made a wrong turn, and we all had to turn around together, and then I felt like I didn't look like I knew what I was doing or where I was going. I'd rather make that mistake with them in the car than them following me. So this will be a business decision for you, whether you have them ride with you or not. I liked it. It also gave me more bonding time with them. So that's another reason my car had to be clean. Punctuality, we talked about this. Being on time means being early. Being late means losing trust. They'll wonder, how dependable are you? You don't show up. Now here is where, remember I said we have a really bad reputation for being late? I will actually give agents grace because we're usually solo practitioners. We're running on full steam and we've got a lot of balls in the air. And sometimes you can, again, be up in Parkville, have scheduled a showing in Lee Summit, and this buyer is taking way too long. They take twice as long to go through that house than anybody has ever gone. Like they go through it at a snail's pace. And you're like, let's get going. Cause I'm like, we can see a house in 15 minutes. We shouldn't be here like for an hour. My husband had a very unusual client. Actually, a school friend of mine, it was his brother, and so I referred him to my husband. And he would want to meditate in the house before and just sit there. I know. Everybody's different. Oh, it's got the look too. It's like, he had to meditate and they would be at every showing for over an hour. I'd be like, I'd want to strangle him. I couldn't have done that. I would want to strangle him because I couldn't go that slow. I'd be like, and he wouldn't make offers. I mean, it was just, oh yeah, that was a nightmare. So, good morning, Amy. So being on time, so important. That's why you want to have good navigation apps that you depend on, whether you use, there's so many different ones. There's Waze, there's Google Maps, there's what's on your iPhone. Find out what works best for you and map it. And like I said, if you can drive it in advance, that's ideal, but a lot of times you're not going to be able to. And that's what you have. You will learn. How many of you are from Kansas City? Okay. You think you know it pretty well? You don't until you become an agent.
I don't know more.
Yeah.
Nothing about the Northland makes sense to me.
Yeah, but when I became an agent, I learned, because most of us are just going main roads. Oh, you don't? Okay, well, most of us, many of us are going just main thoroughfares to get to places. You're not going off into neighborhoods and exploring, but you do as an agent. And that's what I loved, is finding areas that I never knew existed in Kansas City because I'd never veered off the main roads. And so it's really cool that you're going to find all of those. That buyer's agency, if it is your buyer, remember, you have to have a buyer's agency before you go show them properties. So you want to make certain that you're explaining the process to them and slowing them down enough to have those conversations. And I will tell you, the more you can get people and able to talk and have a consultation with them, and I don't call it a consultation because for some people that sounds like I'm trying to like like kidnap them or force them to do something. Let's have coffee and talk about what the process looks like, what comes next. The more you can do that before you go show properties, the better prepared you will be and they will be to win at the game of making offers and winning houses. I know some are chomping at the bit. They want to just go see the house. They want to see the house and you have to learn how to slow them down. And when you're new, you're going to feel like you don't have the skills to slow them down, or we should just go see the house because that's what they want. But I have some good scripts, and one of my very favorite is Alice, okay, I will show you this one house, but you have to make a promise. Will you promise me something? Okay, here's the promise you're gonna make. You're gonna promise me you will not fall in love with this house. And most people kind of a little nervous, like, and I'm like, no, I'm serious. Because if you fall in love with this house, we didn't put you in a good position to win that house. And if it's an awesome house, there's probably other buyers who are interested in it too, and we'll lose to them. I can almost guarantee it. So that's why I don't like to show until we have our game plan in place. I don't like to show houses. I'll do it, but you got to make that promise. Because otherwise I'm just going to disappoint you and maybe even break your heart. And I don't want to do that. So I kind of use a little humor to get them to don't do that. Because they will push you. They will push you. So
Or realize for themselves that they're in this. Like,
oh, definitely, but I still want to, if I can slow them down. But, and remember that sometimes in writing offers, they're not gonna write their best offer first time out. Because they don't understand how competitive it is, and they think sometimes they're gonna look at you, Alina, and they're gonna think, well, she's just trying to pressure me to make an offer. No, it's the real deal. And they have to go, oh, she wasn't fibbing when she said, we gotta move fast.
and to experience it.
Yeah, some have to experience it before they truly buy into what you're saying. It's like, oh, yeah, I just lost that one because we weren't aggressive enough with our offer or fast enough. Again, the buyer's agency, got to do it, got to have it. That's why Linda's contracts classes, she does a contract class on the buyer and seller agreement. It's also in digital chalk. You can watch that video. And then we have samples of those documents filled out on digital chalk. Scheduling. So that client who wants to see it in the next 30 minutes, again, if we didn't have the right talk with them, and sometimes they do bubble up out of, you've talked to them a little bit and nothing moved forward. And then all of a sudden they're like, game on, I want to see a house. I get that, but they have to understand that for scheduling, we can't always make an appointment in less than 30 minutes. Doesn't always happen. And if they want to see more than one house, here's the thing. Has this happened to anyone else? I'd have 4 houses, 5 houses that my buyer wanted to see. I'd map it out perfectly, the route I wanted to go, because it made sense. It was just the perfect flow. And then I go to schedule. First house, yeah, I can schedule the time I want. Second house, yeah, I can schedule the time I want. Third house, no, it won't be available for another hour past what I would fit in my ideal schedule. They're like, dang, now I got to put that one at the end. And then we have to go back that way. So the scheduling doesn't always work out according to plan. And so you've got to start figuring out what kind of app are you going to use to make sure that you're mapping it out correctly and know the times and what have you. And when you do that, how long do you usually schedule showings for? What do you?
So I've been scheduling each one for an hour, and then but like, let's say we're seeing 6 houses. Like, then they're within a 15-minute time block, and it gives us that like wiggle room.
Yeah, that's always what I did. It really depends how far apart they are. 30 minutes might not be enough. Might be enough for you, but remember, you could get that buyer, especially if you haven't really taken them out showing before. You don't know, are they a turtle? Or are they a rabbit? I'm a rabbit. I'm like, let's go, 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 go. Let's knock it out. And then people, oh, some people say, well, they won't even like the house, but they will still continue to go. They want to see everything. I'm like,
If they don't like it.
but you said you don't like this house. No. And they'll be like, and then they open up another closet and they'll be like, you're killing me. You're killing me. So I'm not good with people that move slowly. I'm not good with people who walk slowly. I'm like, I gotta go past you because this is too long. So that you have to then gauge what their personality type is and how they take in houses and all of that. So there's more to it than you think. This isn't like, oh, I'll just schedule and show. Best practices, use MLS. You should be looking at all of the information on that MLS sheet to make certain that this is a house you should show, especially if it's your client. If it says it won't take FHA loans and you've got an FHA buyer, do you know when I was new, nobody told me about the financing on that page. And so I didn't know, and I had, my first buyer was an FHA buyer, and I showed her a house and that wasn't, I learned after I showed the house that they wouldn't take FHA financing, and thank God she didn't love the house. Because I can't imagine having them say to her, oh, sorry, I was just kidding, showing you that house. That's not even something you can offer on.
I mean, I was worried about, hey, we're dealing with now, that's the first thing that you just said, as far as being alone. Great, we're just excited for an offer, you know?
Yes.
And that has been so difficult because of what that VA appraiser needed done, which we got done, and then it didn't pass yesterday.
Oh, no.
Well, it was my fault, I missed this one piece, a strip to like show painter that needs to be repainted, this chip's paint. So I just, we're not blocking. Because I knew my seller was about to leave.
Yes.
I just wish I understood a little bit more. And
Yes.
The VA appraiser was like, well, I didn't point out to you, but it was in the photos. And, you know, it was more of a.
You didn't know the right questions to ask,
I
being
didn't,
your
and
first
it
VA.
was-
I get that.
We're going stage yesterday, but, you know, those things really,
Yeah, they do.
it really does matter. And how I will.
Think twice, three times,
Really spend a lot of time.
and ask a lot of questions. You want to review those instructions, those showing instructions. Make sure you understand. Don't be reaching out to that listing agent and asking them questions that's on the MLS unless it doesn't make sense. But there's nothing that burns a busy listing agent that somebody's saying. And it says 24-hour notice on appointments. No, you can't. We've got tenants in there, whatever it is. Be flexible with your windows. That's why I like having an hour window, because then that gives me some leeway. If you're going to be early, don't go in. Don't go in unless you have contacted the listing agent or the showing broker bay to make certain it's okay. There could be somebody still in the house. If you're going to be late, don't assume that they're going to be okay with that. Remember, if it's an occupied house, you could have picked the family out for that hour. And then that mom is desperate to get back in that house and put that baby down for a nap. And you come 15 minutes late, and sorry, we were running behind. That would go wrong. So you've got to let them know. It does happen that we get off schedule. It does happen, but you've got to let everybody know that. Don't assume, and don't ever go into a vacant house without an appointment. Because those lock boxes will tell on you. They'll know you've been in that house, or there's cameras all the time. Make sense? Prepare for the showing, make sure that you understand, like I said, everything about the showing, know enough about the house. Yes, it can. You don't. So that's a great thing so if there are multiple showings in the house, used to be, we just let the other agent, we wouldn't lock up the lockbox and all of that. We'd say, here, you do that. Remember, the lockbox is tracking the coming and going by your pin.
Whoa.
So you want to make certain if something bad happened, like all the doors didn't get locked, it's on you because you were the last person recorded. So just say, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna lock it up, put the key back in. When you get ready to go, you'll have to get the key out of there. Just wanna, honor the integrity of the system. It feels kind of rude, but it's not. It's protecting you because I hear it all the time on listing agents that somebody was in my house and they didn't close the door or window or whatever, something like that. We had somebody, their house got broken into, but it didn't look like it got broken into. Meaning some window or door was left unlocked. And they were scouring to see who showed the house. Who could that, or who showed it all today? And then quizzing all those people. So you don't want that to happen. So always ask, if you're showing for someone else, always ask, is there anything that special I need to know about this buyer? Any special, information that they require? Do they always want the seller's disclosure or what have you? What is there that I need to know? So always ask some questions of that buyer's agent before you go do a showing for them. When you go to the house, make sure that you're ringing the doorbell, knocking on the door, and announcing yourself when you go in. Never assume that everybody who lives in that house knows about that appointment. We have all walked in on somebody. We have all walked in on somebody.
Usually negative.
Yeah. Sometimes just out of the shower. Sometimes, yeah, it can be a lot of different things. So. Also, if you are showing a house for another agent, you have to stay neutral. You are not there to give advice. You're not the buyer's agent, you're a showing agent. That means you're there to open up the doors, answer any questions that are relevant on the MLS sheet. But they say, what do you think of this house? Or is this a good buy? That's an awesome question for your agent. Also be careful that the buyers may start bonding with you. They might think, Ellie, I really like you. Oh, I connect with you so much better than my Joe agent. No, you have an amazing agent. Matter of fact, they made certain that you had the ability to see this house and that I helped. So they went out of their way to make sure this happened for you and that their schedule didn't get in the way. You have to be very careful because it happens, and they start liking you more or better. And you can't let that happen. That will ruin the integrity of being a showing agent, and you will not have a good reputation. So never, ever, ever, no matter what they say, you just have to stay neutral and then always point them back to their agent and compliment their agency. Say, you've got a great agent. You're so lucky, right? Okay, so after the appointment, you're gonna let the lead agent know, that buyer's agent know how it went immediately. You're also gonna give feedback to the listing agent through the system and let them know. Be a good partner and you will get asked to do it again and again. And again, like I said, it's a great way to make some extra money. So, any questions for everybody online? There's more information, and like I said, I will upload the student manual for this class, so you all can see it. The people who came in person have that, and I will make that available to you all. All right, we're getting ready for the business meeting. Let me stop the share. And so those of you on Zoom, please join us on the closed Facebook page and join us for the business meeting. And I will see you guys later. Thanks.
Thanks.
You guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.